We are rolling. Hey, what's up? This is Neil P once again, and we're back with SUPcast. I don't know what episode this is. We could call this episode 20... I don't know. What episode is this? Episode 20... Episode 20... And once again, we are live, but we're not live. We're recording this. This is Neil Patterson. We're recording this Zoom call. And soon we will be connecting with Mr. Peter Keys of the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, but also an old home friend, homeboy, home dude. And we met Peter Keys back in when we recorded our first album. This is all happening so fast. We're doing a thing. We're doing a thing. This is the podcast. Sent. SUPcast. Exit full screen. Got my oatmeal. Do I want to pick up my chewing? Allie, I love you. I'm sorry. Fine. This will be done shortly. It's fine. Are you sure? Yeah. Do you love me? I love you too. You never go full Stevie. Oh, here's the dude.
Neil, dude.
Hey, I'm rolling. Are you rolling? The video's already recording, but
now I'm rolling.
Okay, are you rolling with audio?
I'm rolling with audio.
Okay, cool. I got my headphones on. What's up, man?
What's up, Neil P?
I am eating some oatmeal.
You're chewing on oatmeal rather vigorously.
Yeah, this is true, and it's being picked up by this fancy microphone that I bought off Amazon weeks ago. Where's it? Months ago.
People pay good money for that. What do they call that? Foley? Is that Foley oatmeal you're eating?
No, this is just whatever I could get at Walmart when the pandemic first hit. I just bought a shitload of oatmeal.
I hope you bought enough toilet paper for the oatmeal.
I have I've been a wet wipes guy for a while now. From touring, and I had a problem. I was on tour with Fishbone back in like 2016, and I got some gnarly hemorrhoids, and I've never gone back to toilet paper since then. So not to divulge. I mean, you know me.
I was gonna say, is this how we want to start this whole thing?
It kind of happens that way. I remember like I had a guest on, and I went into some tangent about this weird story where we stayed at these people's house on tour, and we got kicked out because the homeboy's wife was trying to have sex with all the guys in the band, and she was all drunk. And he, the guest actually asked me to take that part out of the podcast because that's how like the podcast was introed, that whole conversation. It was funny, so I took it out.
Full disclosure, my life is an open book, man. No anonymity here. You can post it all you want.
Yeah, and I know this about you. I like that about you.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. We're only as sick as our secrets.
Yeah, and dudes like you and I don't have a whole lot of secrets. I feel we kind of just put it all out there.
Well, we wake up like this.
Yeah, because I forget. I was having a conversation with someone. It was a podcast or something, and I just was talking about. Oh, we know this dude. I know this dude that I play with. I don't know anything about him. I played music with him since like 2016, and I've been on multiple tours, and I still don't really know the guy because he's just that type of dude. He doesn't fucking tell you what he's feeling. You have to, and I'm an anxious dude, and I talk about myself way too much, and I'm always feeling stuff. So like I got in my head, and I'm like, this guy doesn't even like me, but he keeps coming back. He keeps wanting to play. He's a great drummer. Keeps wanting to play music with me. So here we go. He
nice.
He's down. So he must like me. He must like me a little bit.
He's down with your sickness.
Yeah. I've been fighting this cold ever since, like probably about 3 weeks, and I keep telling myself, I'm like, I hope it doesn't get worse. So I've just been, staying the fuck put and
good
eating all the vitamin C. And you're in Nashville right now, right?
I am, and I'm enjoying the hell out of social distancing, and I'm actually really happy with my quarantine. I mean, you can see I'm in my studio, and it's like, this is my happy place, man.
You're at home, dude.
I'm so at home. It's unbelievable. I mean, like yesterday, I had this really shitty awning over the outside of my door that goes into the basement where the studio is, and it's like, it's been shitty since I got the house. And I was like, I'm going to replace that one day. And then like one of the things fell, and it fell on somebody. I was like, oh shit. And I jammed it back up, and I was like, I'm still going to replace that someday. Nobody got hurt. But like yesterday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to buy some stuff and I'm going to make a new awning. And I said, do you guys have any awnings? They said, no, we don't do awnings. So I was like, all right, take me to the hardware. And I went down and I found like some of that corrugated fiberglass roofing shit and a couple 2x4s and like built a frame and like put it together, and then realized that I'd cut the things too long and cut the other things too short. I was like, yeah, typical absolute maneuver, like aim, fire, ready. No, wait, it's not that way. Anyways, but I did some like duct tape engineering and got the thing up there and it looks great. And of course it started raining this morning and I was like, man, I feel so empowered and manly. Like I actually accomplished something that I've been putting off for like the 4 years since I've been here.
Yeah, it's like now's the time.
We got all these opportunities in front of us now, especially to do shit that we put off or that doesn't seem super important or back burner. I got like 5 million songs that I need to finish and I've been working on them and it's been great.
So you're into it.
Totally into it. 100%.
Yeah, I just finished a video project that I wanted to do fucking 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago I had the hernia surgery, and I was kaput. And I would compare this kind of to that in a weird way, except I don't have the bodily pain, but I'm stuck. I can't do shit. So it's like time to really jump into the computer and do all those things I said I wanted to do 2 years ago. And then once I got back to real life takes over. You can't really hunker down and concentrate on all the little, projects that you got in your brain. And you seem like a dude, and I've known you for a long time, who you have like an insane energy level. I don't know if it's the way you're wired or if it's caffeine or if it's, yep, there you go. A combination of both.
I've got a lifetime supply of coffee, man. That's all
beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I've been on crazy on the caffeine tip. I feel like it's getting worse. Like since I've been quarantined, I've just been like dosing myself in mass amounts.
Caffeine quarantine. I tell you what, though, it's a psychological thing, man. I remember I was a barista for a while, and like my first day at a barista gig, I drank 14 double lattes just because I could, and they were free, and I haven't felt caffeine ever since.
Yeah,
it's just like I blew my entire caffeine tolerance was completely shot out from that first day, and that was like 30 years ago.
So you're maintaining at this point. You've just been maintaining.
I'm just literally, it's a placebo. I'm like, yeah, I'm drinking coffee. I gotta have plenty of energy. And I'm like, No, my body's like, no, dude, you're old. Stop.
Do you know who Mike Dillon is? He percussionist dude. Plays with Les Claypool.
Yeah.
He's
the Vibes player.
Yeah, that guy.
Holy shit, is he good?
Yeah. He's a big proponent of espresso rants. He'll like just drink a shitload of espresso and go on rants online and piss people off. And he's a really unique, incredible dude. I'm gonna try to do this with him too. I'm gonna try to get him on this little podcast thing I've been doing since I started doing this in 2019. But what's crazy now is I can talk to anyone anywhere in the world with this Zoom shit. It's fucking nuts.
It's unbelievable, man. Yeah.
So explain who you are for those who don't know. It will be.
My name is Peter Keys, and I am a coffee holic, among other holics. Man, I play piano. I play keys. Right now, my day gig is I play piano for Lynyrd Skynyrd, which is a pretty cool day gig. One of my old day gigs was I played for the Original P, which is a funkadelic group. They were the original Parliaments with George Clinton, if you guys know who they are. With the 420 Funk Mob. Played with this really cool little indie band called Sea Peoples for about 7 or 8 years. We did, I think, 250,000 miles in a van with 6 guys.
Wow.
I also played with this other cool little band called Downtown Brown a few times and maybe been on a couple of their records. You might know them. You may know who they are. Worked with the Music Mafia here, moved down to Nashville to work with people from the Music Mafia, and everybody, whoever, you may know Big and Rich or Gretchen Wilson. Those were like the big names from the Music Mafia. But I came down here to work with some of the lesser known artists that I really dug. One of them was John Nicholson. The other one was Shannon Lawson. Another one was James Otto. Had a blast doing that. And after moving to Nashville, probably within 6 months, I got a call, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, dude, can you learn Give Me 3 Steps, Call Me the Breeze, Sweet Home Alabama, and Freebird note for note?" I was like, "Well, yeah, but why?" He's like, "I got you an audition with Skynyrd." I'm like, "Dude, when?" He's like, "Saturday." I'm like, "It's Thursday." He's like, "Yep, learn it." I was like, and then I think, Neil, you came down at like right at the end of that, or in the middle of that. And I was locked in. I lived in a house about this big.
Oh yeah.
It was literally the upstairs of a house. I was in the attic.
Yeah.
And I practiced those 4 songs for about 18 hours a day. And you showed up in Nashville on the last day of practice or something.
It was before the audition, and
Right.
yeah, and you were balls deep in Lynyrd Skynyrd, and well, this is something that Toby told me. Toby said that the other dudes that were auditioning, they like used their keyboards to downtune. Is that true?
Oh, everybody did. No. Everything was dropped a half step, because that way Johnny can sing it every night. It's not as stressful on the vocal cords.
So this is my question. Did you? But you learned it note for note, dropped the half step. So you learned the songs, and then you you learned them in the original key.
No, because I was smart. I watched the videos, and I made sure that I was playing in the right fucking key.
Okay.
Some people went in there and they weren't playing in the right key, but the true point of it is that nobody went there prepared. Everybody thought they could just go and jam along to the songs, and Eddie Harsh, God rest his soul, great player, showed up, and he walked in and he started playing. They're like, "Oh my God, this is the guy!" And they said, "Cool, let's play Sweet Home Alabama." And he just started doing his own thing, and they're like, "No, that's not the part at all."
Yeah.
So he walked out of there totally flustered, and he was the one guy that I was afraid of losing the gig to. But he came out and he's like, "Man, those guys are crazy. They're just like really, really good." And I learned everything in the wrong key, because he's the one guy who actually didn't figure out that they transposed everything. So he tried to learn stuff in the flat keys. But anyways, long story short, yeah, I just prepared like crazy for that.
Yeah, because you've been doing session work and you've been gigging for fucking since you were a teenager, right?
Yeah.
And and so you just put in more work than the other guys, and it showed. And how long have you been with Skynyrd now? How many years ago was that?
This will be my 12th or 13th year. First tour was in 2009, so I toured all of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can't do math, but I think it was like 12 years. Yeah, 13 years. 12.
Okay, yeah, because we came down, I think in like 08.
Yeah.
Was that the year you auditioned?
It was 09. It was
okay. It was 09.
February or March of 09, because Billy died in January.
Okay.
And they called me in March, so I think the audition was in March.
And I remember we were doing like this little vlog shit, and back like in those days touring, we like just filmed everything, and so we did a little video. And I remember we had like an interview segment with you, and and you just touched upon. It was like poignant. I remember I was really inspired by it, because I was fresh off of quitting drinking in 08. And I remember just being like, wow, like here's a guy that fucking quit drinking, got sober, and now look at him. He's fucking got, and I was just impressed that you had the audition, but then you fucking landed the gig, and then it just became a story I told people over the years, just like, yeah, I know that I was there when he was getting ready.
Office.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But I've always looked up to you, man. Like, no bullshit. I was like a big fucking fat drunk asshole for a long time, and I didn't take life seriously, and I didn't care if I was alive or dead. And I just remember you were one of the dudes that I was like, wow, here's someone that was arguably in a worse situation than me. And he fucking, not only did he beat it, but now he's like fucking kicking life's ass. And I don't, I'm kind of fumbling over my words here, but man.
Well, dude, it's funny, dude, because like when you called me to play on the first Downtown Brown record, I was like, dude, this kid's fucking rad, because you really reminded me of like a lot of the old school punk funk shit that I was wanting to be involved in and playing back in like the late 80s, early 90s in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And you were killing it. And I looked up to you. I was like, man, Neil's got this shit down. He's way into the DIY culture, and he's, writing these crazy good songs, and he's got this super theatrical, like, insane personality, and not like totally fearless lyrical content and just mad musical ability and all this shit. So, if you were looking up to me, I was never looking down at you. I was looking across at you, or maybe looking up to you in that same way, and I think you met me right as I was getting sober,
Yeah, because the dude I went to high school with, Adam, was Adam Marshall. He was driving you around, and we were recording our first record. This is before Toby and them were at the church. We were with Chuck and what the fuck is that called? MPA?
Pearl.
Yeah,
sound.
Pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember you might have been staying there, but you definitely were like pretty much living there, working on whatever project you had going at the time. And I was drawing some fucking doing like a logo for Downtown Brown, like in the very early stages. And I remember, I just remember meeting you in that lobby area, and you being like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, could you do a logo for us?" And I don't think I ever did one, but
it's all right. That project totally crashed and burned that I was doing anyways. That was called Spin Cycle.
Yeah, okay. It seems like just yesterday. And what's funny is that I remember that drawing I did, the Downtown Brown logo. We literally trademarked that. Like I've been using that for almost 20 years now. I drew that at Pearl. Like,
right.
They had those tall chairs, and then there's a little like desk area where it was kind of I drew it fucking right there.
Dude, that's so funny. Oh my God, we're old.
It happens quick. But yeah, man, it's just in the journey, it's been nuts. And then now you've worked with, since the Lynyrd Skynyrd thing, you've worked with Yellow Wolf, and who else? You're all over the place.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm working with all kinds of people, man. Dude, I just love doing new music. I love doing fresh, inventive stuff that like isn't, my normal day gig stuff. It's like I'm still a huge funk head. I'm still a huge punk head. I'm still like a freaking, an avant-garde
weirdo.
Weirdo. Yeah, it's like Frank Zappa is like my biggest influence. So, like, prog stuff, I just love it, man. And it's like trying to figure out how to integrate all of those things into what I'm doing. And I've been more into this kind of like Delta blues, boogie woogie, Dr. John, piano thing, and I think the quarantine has really helped me with that, because I'm like, what if all this went away? What if all this technology went away? What if electricity went away? What the fuck would I do? I'd hopefully have a piano, and I'd need to express myself in some way. So let's get back to that. And now, and to circle back to the Skynyrd thing, when I got the Skynyrd gig, I'd been playing in C Peoples, and I've been doing almost all synthesizer, like really just weird tweaky sounds and stuff like that, and playing parts. And getting back to learning like piano, it gave me a whole new appreciation for the instrument that I began on. So it was a really full circle thing. So I'm getting back into that, and it's it never ends. The beauty for me about music is that there's always a next level, and the next level is always like infinitely harder than the previous level, right? So you think you get to a spot where you're like adequate or good, and then that next level to get to great is like exponentially harder than the last level that you got to get to where you thought you were good. So for me, it's it's just a never-ending process, and I think it's like that with kind of with all of life. Not to get too deep and meaningless here, but spiritual growth, how we are around other people, how we treat other people, really dictates how we are treated in the end, and that's another exponential growth level of just being. So I'm going to try to tie this all into what we're dealing with now with the social distancing and the coronavirus. This is like a big social reset, right? It feels like it's a global reset of our social consciousness. It's like being pulled away from all of the shit that we're comfortable with and that we know, and all of the distractions that keep us all busy up in our heads so that we don't actually have to do the work on ourselves. this is like the perfect storm for that. And that's why I love it, because that's kind of the journey that I've been on since I got into recovery, is really just who am I? Who is Peter Keys? Who is Peter Keys? Peter Keys is Peter Pisarczyk. That's who I was born, right? Peter Keys is just much easier to spell and say, and it kind of says what I do. So,
right.
Yeah, that was a really long answer, and I don't even think you asked that very question. So
it doesn't matter. That's the glory about these long form conversations, is that you could go on a tangent, and I go on tangents, and then we end up talking about shit that, you know, we're at point Z when we started at point, you know, B flat or something. But yeah, a global reset. That's a good way of thinking about it. And what's cool. What you said about going back to the piano is it's funny that like we're all depending on technology to keep us connected, and you're like, well, I'm gonna go full analog and go back to the fucking piano. Like that's, you know, most people.
My prediction is this is like the fucking Great Flood. This is 40 days and 40 nights is what I'm thinking is going to be minimum.
Minimum. Yeah.
Right, 40 days and 40 nights of complete shut off and complete, you know, isolation from the world. So it's like we're in a desert, right? So not to get all biblical, but, you know, I kind of built my ark, right? I got all my animals, all my toys, all the shit I need to survive and to thrive, you know? So bring it. Bring on the rain, motherfucker. Let's go.
Well, it's good. It's good talking to someone that has like I was like fucking deathly afraid and panicked when this thing first started, because I was on the road, and I've told this story. I mean, anyone listening to the podcast, I've told this story 9 times now. But like we were on tour, the attendance was up, we were opening for this national act, and then the next day the attendance cut in half, and then the next day they canceled Coachella. The next day they started canceling all the big concert things. They canceled Disneyland, and then the next day the attendance at the show even dwindled more, and they canceled the fucking NBA. They, you know, and then the day we started going back to LA after the whole tour got canceled, I made the mistake of going into a Walmart, and you could smell the panic and you could feel the fear, but I bought into it. I was like, I told everyone, and I told my girlfriend, I'm like, you go with your parents. I'm going to drive back to Michigan, and I'm going to protect my mother because, you know, they're going to come for her house, and I need to get a firearm. I mean, I got full like panic mode about this, but I'm definitely getting used to the whole like just chilling and working on projects thing. I mean, this is the 3rd podcast I've recorded in 3 days, and my live-in girlfriend's starting to get kind of annoyed with me. But I'm like, think about the possibilities with Zoom. I can interview guests that, you know, because the whole premise of the podcast was having the guest in my touring vehicle, in my van, and we
I saw that. I wanted to do an interview in your van.
We still can do that when, you know, when the 40 days is over or whatever, when the flood subsides. But what's cool about this is I'm like, dude. Like from years of touring and from just getting to know people, like I know all these motherfuckers all over the place, and if I can set up some sort of video conference and get decent audio, I mean, there's the podcast. And it's giving me an opportunity to take advantage of all this time I have, because I'm like not concentrating on touring or the band or like working odd jobs to make money because I'm broke. I can just fucking hit motherfuckers up, and you know this.
Well, dude, I love it. I mean, you know, I had you on my thing, you know, the Insomnia Chronicles, and
that's what made me think about
the same thing. It's really just about connecting with all the connections that we've made through this journey, right? Like as a musician, as a touring artist, it's like we run into people that are all of the same mindset, doing the same fucking thing, but they have a different story and a different experience, and it's all super interconnected. And I mean, this is what this is all I know, you know, so.
And you're an inspiration, dude, because not only is it all you know, but you stuck with it. Like I'm sure there were points in your journey where you felt like this isn't going anywhere. Like I should. Well, yeah, I want to hear this story about what's that tattoo you got?
The cockroach.
Yeah, tell that story. I want everyone to hear this because it's really fucking inspiring. It inspired the shit out of me.
Okay, so guys, there's a cockroach on my arm, and I came up with this theory. It's called the cockroach theory. Okay, now the cockroach has remained unchanged by evolution for billions of years, and it is supposedly the only creature that will survive a nuclear holocaust. And I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be something to that. So basically, in a nutshell, don't die, don't be a dick, don't quit, and you'll win by default. Much like the cockroach, right? The cockroach theory is those of us that continue to do what we do and don't piss everybody off and don't OD or die will be successful by default. It's your basic last man standing principle, right? It's like if I just keep doing what I do, I'm going to get better at it and I'm going to be recognized for it because everybody else gives up. Right? It's not that I'm any more talented than anybody else. It's just I am way more stubborn than most, you know, and I don't believe in quitting, like to a fault. Like, I mean, literally, you know, when I left Detroit, I spent my rent money on a flight to Nashville because I couldn't make a fucking dime in Detroit because the economy was so bad and the music scene was so shitty that I was literally about to go apply to work at Taco Bell. And I'm not kidding. There was a Taco Bell around the corner from the church that I lived, and I had to feed my kids. I was like, man, if I don't get this gig in Nashville, I'm going to go work at Taco Bell. But that, you know, that was like the low part of my life and my career. And I was sober like 4 years at that point. But it's just, it had gotten so depressing and so hard to make ends meet that I was like, maybe music isn't it. But luckily, I found this ad on Craigslist to join a band, and it was a shitty band. It was horrible music. I'm not going to mention it, but it was the worst ever. But they put me on salary, and and I'm like, I have never had a salaried gig in my life. That was the first time in my life I'd paid taxes, right? It was 2008, and I was born in 1965, so you do the math. So anyways, that allowed me to get to Nashville, and because I followed that and just kind of took a leap of faith, when the call came in for the Skynyrd audition, I was exactly where I needed to be.
You were ready.
The band that I was playing with was so shitty that we only did about 8 gigs a year, so I had nothing but time to practice. So yeah, cockroach theory, man. I just kept coming back. I did not quit. So that's if I had to give any advice to any artist or musician or anyone for that matter, you know, do what you do like your life depends on it, because your life depends on it.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, and I remember it was wild. I brought my friend Joey to the Lynyrd Skynyrd gig. It was a couple summers ago. It was after my hernia surgery, so I think it was 2018. And right. You got us backstage, and there was a whole meet and greet, and we went down there. And you just talked to us the whole fucking time. You didn't talk to any Skynyrd fans. You just talked to us. And and you explained to me, I don't know if you'd explained to me the cockroach theory in the past, but you explained it to me then, and it really hit me like a pile of bricks. I'm like, dude, it's like this guy's got the right idea. Because I get discouraged, man. I look at the analytics. I see the empty rooms. You know, I've been doing my shit for 20 years, but...
Right.
But I think like a lot of it has to do with just adapting and continuing and not quitting. And even if I have to work some like day job on the side just to get me by, like I'm always the dude that makes sure that it's the day job that I can fucking quit at any time. Right. If an opportunity, like you know, if HR calls or I'm singing for this punk band and then I'm doing the Downtown Brown thing. It's like my whole life is revolved around this idea. Where'd your phone go? There we go.
Sorry, my battery was saying it's low. I'm plugged in.
Plug it in, baby. But yeah, I mean, but dudes like you heavily inspired my stubbornness.
Dude, no, look, that show that you came to, I remember this vividly like it was yesterday. I was like, Neil, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so fucking proud of you for for doing what you're doing because you're killing it. And you're like, dude, I'm a fucking t-shirt salesman. And I was like, yeah, I know, but that's rad. And that's when I went out and started like making my own t-shirts. So I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm a fucking t-shirt salesman. I mean, I'm selling Lynyrd Skynyrd t-shirts, but you know, it's like, that's what we do. We figure out ways to support our musical habit, which is like a Jones that will never be, fulfilled or never be satisfied.
And that's the other thing too, is you could just do the Skynyrd gig and you could probably sit around and do nothing after the Skynyrd gig's over, like but you're like, okay, when I'm not doing this, I'm doing this, and this. And
yeah.
That's another thing I love about you, man, is just you're constantly working, and it's not just on one project. Like you're spread, like, just from what I see on the internet, it seems like you're spread pretty thin,
dude. It's look, I don't know if I told you about my newest venture, but I'm opening Nashville Vinyl Company, and we're going to be pressing vinyl records. I just bought a building with 2 partners right in Lebanon, which is right next to Nashville, and we're going to be manufacturing records, because I'm going to make money making music. I don't care whose music it is, but it's all I know. So if I can figure out a way to make a couple dollars off every record ever sold, even if it's not mine, that's going to allow me to sit here in my studio and do all the stupid shit that keeps my head so busy that I don't have to think about how horrible of a person I am. Not that I'm a horrible person, but that's where my ego wants me to go.
Oh yeah, well, I was having a conversation with my friend about this like 2 days ago, and it's like if someone like my mind is idle and not working on a project, I start to really kind of beat myself up. Not only do I beat myself up that I'm not working on something, but I beat myself up that I am nobody gives a shit. I'm pointless. Right. I have no voice. I start to push all of the things that I've done like way to the side, so I can't even see them. And then I grew up with like my father figure was definitely he basically told me the whole time he was alive how much he didn't approve of anything that I did, and I kind of carried some of that burden even though he's gone now. It's weird, but
dude, that's an Oedipus complex. It's not even a complex. It's an archetype. Mm-hmm. I got into like reading about some archetypes and stuff, and it's really this is super tangent, but like the Oedipus thing is like Zeus, the god, right? God Zeus from like the back in the fucking, Greco-Roman days, had all these kids, and he swallowed them all because he didn't want them to take over, right? So there's like the whole thing of like your son is going to outshine you, and that threatens your manhood. So you have to bash your son down so that
you have to eat him.
Shit. But that's a really common, typical male archetype thing. And the fucked up thing is like, yeah, of course your son's going to outshine you because he's going to live longer than you, dumbass. So don't be a dick. That's me paraphrasing the entire Bible. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Yeah. The summary of this book is...
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
And that's part of the cockroach theory. Don't die. Don't be a dick.
Okay, so what are the cockroach theory? What are the rules again? What are the 3 main points?
Don't die. Don't be a dick. It's it.
Just 2.
Just 2. That's all you got to do. Just not die. Don't be a dick, and you will be successful. Well, whatever you do.
My fingers are crossed, man, because... Well, because definitely the landscape is a lot different than, like what you were saying when you heard Downtown Brown, you're like, wow, this reminds me of like that like late 80s, early 90s punk funk thing. I didn't realize it until about 2012 that the music I've been making my entire life is so derivative of 90s music that it probably will never be like popular, or, you know what I'm saying? It just, it like... If I was in this band and we were like gigging in the 91, my life would be totally different.
Right. Well, look, it's like Mr. Bungle, Fishbone, and early Chili Peppers. It was totally what I got from what you're doing with a little bit of like, with a little bit of Frank Zappa mixed in there, just because of your crazy fucking personality and total disregard for, you have no filter, Neil. That's what I love about you.
Lately I think a little bit more about what I say. A lot of but think about it this way: like you would say, someone like Jello Biafra from Dead Kennedys has no filter, but his lyrics are very calculated. Like like I definitely put even when I was drinking, I definitely put a lot of thought into what I was saying, but I framed it in a way that if you were to look at it on the surface level, you might be offended. But I'm definitely always. Yeah, definitely no filter, but filtered.
Yeah, well,
at the same
nobody
time,
really has no filter, but Donald
Trump has no filter.
it came from a good place. Yeah. Joe Filter. There's a good name. What's your name? Joe Filter.
It's Joe Camel's brother, Joe Filter. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I'm trying to say.
That's good. We went there. We got there.
Yeah. Selling cigarettes to kids. Are you still smoking cigarettes? Is that a weird question? Man. Yeah. No. How long has that been?
Can't remember. I had a cigar the other day. It was awesome, but probably 10 years.
I had a hit of a cigarette when the day I went to Walmart. I was super stressed out. I got back from the Walmart. I called my brother. I said, I'm heading east. I'm taking the van, and I'm getting I'm taking it into the shop. I'm gonna get whatever needs to get fixed on it. I'm heading east, and I'm gonna quarantine myself in Mom's backyard, and I'm gonna fucking dig a hole in her backyard, and I'm gonna piss and shit in the hole. I'm gonna make sure she stays in the house. I'm gonna quarantine myself in the van. I'm gonna live in my van by myself. And then, my brother's like, "You sure you want to do that?" And then I hit a cigarette for the first time in like over a year. I'm like, "This is fucking disgusting." And yeah. So that happened.
No more smoke, man.
Yeah, it's not good. Especially, I'm 39 years old, and my entire dad's side of the family, they all had massive heart attacks, and heart disease runs heavily in my bloodline. And my most recent doctor, I've had a bunch of doctors because I keep switching insurance because I'm poor. He pretty much said, "Hey, if you don't want to have a massive heart attack, don't smoke." And that's all I need. That's all I needed to hear.
I'm not even going to go into the laundry list of shit that I've put into my lungs and body over years. So, I'm just like...
No war stories?
Every day from here on out is a bonus, man. I don't need to cut it any shorter than it's already going to be, so...
Well, fucking A. Well, bless up.
Bless up, yo.
Bless up. But, yeah, I don't know. This all just happened so quickly because I remember I just texted you and you're just like, hit me up. You're like, you ready to go? So I kind of, I don't have pants on right now.
No. Well, look, it's been awesome talking with you, brother. I actually do have to peace out here.
Word.
Are there any final questions for the band?
No, I mean, just, tell the listeners who you are and what you're all about, and any last things, anything you want to plug, just let them know.
All right, everybody, this is Peter Keys here. What are you calling this, Neil?
This is SUPcast, as in what's up cast.
This is Peter Keys on SUPcast. You can find me at peterkeys.com. You can follow me at Peter Keys on Twitter, Instagram, Peter Keys somewhere on Facebook. I've also got a thing called the Insomnia Chronicles, and I think that's about it. You can find me at LynyrdSkynyrd.com or on a stage with them. I am in Nashville. You can have a good time with whatever you do, and it's been great talking to you, Neil, on SUPcast. Peace.
Doctor. Later on, man. Pete. Hey, have a good one, and thanks again. Let's stay in touch, man.
You too. Happy
Namaste.
Quarantine.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste inside.
Yeah.
Later.
Namaste the fuck away.
All right.
Peace, bro.
See ya.
Later, man.
Later.
So there you have it. That was Mr. Peter Keys. Mr. Peter Keys of the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, but who is also an old-time friend, yeah. So he had to go take a business call or whatnot. But, this gives me the opportunity to maybe rap a little bit. I can maybe rap a little bit right here on this microphone because here, we're rolling. It's still recording. We're still alive. And I just ate a bowl of oatmeal while talking to Peter Keys, and that's pretty good. Allie was doing a Stevie Nicks impression earlier today that we got on video, and that was pretty good. But life has become pretty simple these days. If you're non-essential, I'm non-essential. Like music, art. Allie is a server. She's we're all deemed non-essential. We all lost our work. So here we are. We're held up, and we're trying to make the best of this situation. And yeah, thinking about what Peter Keys had to say in the Cockroach Theory about don't be a dick and don't die. We'll see if that works out for yours truly, but I think it's kind of beautiful words to live by. You'll be a success. And I think the other thing we need to kind of delve into a tiny bit is success. It's different for everyone. It's a subjective thing, just like being cool. Like some people think some people are cool, some people think they're cool. Some people think I'm a success because, and another person would look at them and be like, they're not successful. They haven't done shit. So I think we have to invent definitions of success. for ourselves and just be happy with our little victories and not be so hard on ourselves. And right now I'm saying this to myself because I need to hear it. Neil, don't be so fucking hard on yourself. You've made cool friends, you've done cool stuff, you've made cool art, and you're continuing to do stuff, and you haven't died yet, and I think you're definitely not a dick compared to maybe like 15, 20 years ago. You used to be kind of a dick. So I'm following the fucking cockroach theory, and I feel in a way that I'm kind of successful. I mean, I'm in Long Beach, California, from Northville, Michigan, and I have a wonderful partner in life, and we're doing the damn thing together. And to me, I mean, I think we're kind of a success. You know, do we have a lot of money? No. But are we able to do what we want to do and do it a good amount? Yeah, we are, and we're doing it. And it's nice. There's not a lot of stress involved. We care about each other a lot, and we're in this together. And you know, back to when I was talking to P. Keys about me taking off, I was gonna essentially abandon her to make sure she was safe, so I could go and take care of my mom. And she begged me to stay. She yelled at me too. She told me I was stupid, and she told me I was freaking out, and she begged me to stay. And I decided that I'm gonna ride this out with her. So yeah, she's my ride or die, and she's also my ride or fry because we're potatoes together. So yeah. Here we are. We're riding into the sunset. That is this weird quarantine type thing. And what's going to happen, we don't know. I don't know. I'm still somewhat symptomatic. I have sniffles and an itchy throat, and I was even coughing this morning. So it's like I just hope this sickness that I've had for about 3 weeks, this like feeling of not being well, I hope it goes away and I can just be healthy and stay the fuck put, and we can get through this, and the curve can get flattened by the amount of people taking this seriously, and we can hopefully the hospitals and everyone who's deemed essential and working to make this thing go away, hopefully it just eventually goes away. Because I was reading in China, like life is starting to go back to normal. And in places like Italy, life is definitely not going back to normal. So I think it's really imperative that everyone takes this shit very seriously and just does their part not to make any of this shit worse. And the cool part about being in California is going out and seeing that most people are heeding to the warnings. About a week back, we rode our bikes to the beach because there's a bike path that goes right to the beach, and there was like fucking hundreds of people at the beach. And I turned around, I freaked the fuck out. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. None of these people are listening. A week later, the beach was a ghost town. People are listening. It's good. And so yeah, hopefully everywhere else, people are fucking listening. And I remember when I got back from the tour that got canceled, Phil and I were walking around Venice, and there was like a St. Patty's Day bike parade, and there was all these people on bikes, and I remember just taking a video and being like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, in Venice, and someone on Facebook commented, like, why are people still gathering? Like, get the fuck inside. And she was super fucking pissed off about it, and I just remember being like, oh, chill, lady. I was just walking with my friend, and that's what happened. But the thing is like, should we have been walking? And should that bike parade should have been happening? No, definitely. Those people shouldn't have been doing a bike parade. There shouldn't have been people in the fucking bar near the beach, like listening to a cover band. Everyone should have been home at that point. But now I feel like California is really taking this shit seriously. Every time I get on my bike, there's nobody. There's nobody. So it's just me, Allie, the internet, these microphones, and Zoom, baby. And we're zooming into the future, and we're SUPcasting we're doing it hard in a big way. So I don't know. I've already put out 2 podcasts this week. Does anyone care? I don't know, but I'm staying busy, and it's helping me stay sane. Talking to the homies, getting perspectives from dudes like Peter Keys and my friend Carmel and Jama, and it feels good. It feels good. And as soon as I put this mic down and take these headphones off, I might go back to some sort of a panic. I might go back to some sort of an anxiety. But we're going to breathe through it, and we're going to love through it, and we're going to hope through it, and we're going to sup through it. And that's all I have to say right now. Take care of yourself, stay the fuck inside, and let's ride this fucking thing out. Make some art, work on some projects. And if you're essential, props to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not essential though, so I'm just going to talk into this microphone. And look at this dude right here. Anyway, that's it. Sup. We'll see you next time. Have an enjoyable day. Okay? All right. Peace, cockroaches. Don't die. Don't be an asshole. See you around.